The wind was cold that evening, sharper than usual, and it moved through the empty streets like a whisper no one wanted to hear. At the far end of the bus stop sat a small boy named Liam, only 10 years old, wrapped in a thin jacket that did nothing to keep him warm. His wheelchair rested beside the bench, old and slightly crooked, one wheel squeaking every time he moved even a little. People walking past barely noticed him, and those who did simply looked away quickly, as if the sight of a lonely disabled child made them uncomfortable. Liam didn't cry. He wanted to, but he didn't. He kept staring at the road, waiting for his father to return. His father had said, "Sit here. I'll be back in a minute." Liam believed him because he always believed him. Even when his father yelled. Even when he pushed him harder than necessary. Even when he ignored him for days. Liam still believed him, because that's what children do. They hope. But the minutes kept passing. The sky slowly turned darker. The air grew colder. Cars came and went. People rushed home with groceries and bags, but Liam kept waiting, gripping the sides of his wheelchair tightly with shaking fingers. He tried to remember if he had done something wrong. Maybe he upset his father. Maybe he didn't move fast enough when his dad told him to. Maybe he didn't smile enough. Liam's mind tried to make sense of something that made no sense at all. "Dad will come back," he whispered to himself. His voice trembled, but he forced a smile. He just needed to do something. But deep down, a fear began to grow inside him, slowly, painfully, like a cold spreading through his heart. His father had been acting strange for weeks. He barely talked to Liam anymore. He spent more time drinking than working. Sometimes when he looked at Liam, his eyes filled with anger, as if the boy reminded him of something he hated. Liam had overheard him once yelling into his phone, "I can't afford this kid anymore. I'm done." At that time, Liam didn't understand what those words meant, but tonight, sitting alone at a bus stop, they suddenly felt like clues to something horrible. A strong gust of wind pushed against Liam's thin jacket, making him shiver. He hugged himself tightly, trying to keep warm. He hadn't eaten since morning and his stomach hurt, but hunger was nothing new to him. He pressed the small backpack on his lap, the only thing he brought with him. Inside were two things, a broken toy car and a small photo of him and his mother. She had died when Liam was very young. He didn't remember much about her, just her warm hands and soft voice. But he liked to imagine she was still watching him from somewhere far above the gray clouds. A bus drove by without stopping. Liam's heart jumped for a moment, thinking his father might be inside. He sat straighter, eyes wide with hope. But the bus passed him without slowing down, splashing cold water from the street onto his wheelchair. The hope faded again, replaced by the heavy silence of disappointment. The streetlights flickered on one by one, glowing yellow through the growing darkness. Liam began to realize something. Something that made his chest tighten until it hurt. His father wasn't coming back. He lowered his head, staring at his hands on his lap. His fingers were red from the cold. His nails were dirty. His breath came out in small white clouds. He felt small, smaller than he had ever felt before. Cars continued to pass. A few people looked at him briefly but then quickly looked away. Maybe they thought someone would come for him soon. Maybe they didn't want to get involved. Maybe they just didn't care. Liam wished someone would ask him if he needed help, but no one did. He shifted in his wheelchair and the old wheel squeaked loudly. For a moment he imagined someone hearing the noise and turning around. But no one did. He whispered softly, "Dad, please come back, please?" His voice broke at the end. Minutes turned into hours. The cold grew stronger. Liam's hands grew numb. Tears finally escaped his eyes, rolling down his cheeks silently. He wiped them quickly, scared that someone might see him crying even though no one was watching. The night sky darkened until it was almost black, and the moon hid behind thick clouds. Liam looked up at the sky anyway as if searching for an answer. "Mom? I wish you were here," he whispered. His voice was so soft the wind almost carried it away. Just then the headlights of a car approached slowly, shining brightly on the empty bus stop. Liam looked up, expecting nothing. But the car didn't drive past. It slowed, then stopped. A man stepped out, sharply dressed, confident-looking, someone who clearly had a life far away from dark bus stops and abandoned children. He looked at Liam with genuine concern, not discomfort or pity. His brows furrowed gently. "Hey, are you okay?" the man asked softly, stepping closer. Liam swallowed hard. He wanted to answer, but the words caught in his throat. The man knelt down in front of him. "Are you alone out here? Where are your parents?" Liam looked down, tears forming again. That moment, that single moment, was the first tiny spark of hope after hours of fear and confusion. Liam didn't know it yet, but the man standing in front of him would change his life forever. And what happened next was something no one could have imagined. The man kneeling in front of Liam looked nothing like the people who usually passed by. He wasn't in a hurry. He didn't glance around awkwardly. He didn't avoid eye contact. Instead, he looked directly into Liam's trembling eyes, searching for answers that the boy could not speak yet. "My name is Mr. Collins," the man said gently, keeping his voice soft. "Can you tell me your name?" Liam opened his mouth, but only a shaky whisper came out. Liam." Mr. Collins nodded slowly. "Hi, Liam. It's nice to meet you. Are you waiting for someone?" Liam lowered his eyes again. His hands tightened around the straps of his backpack. His voice was barely audible as he whispered, "My dad." Mr. Collins glanced around, the empty street, the cold wind, the dark sky. No one in sight. No signs of someone returning. "How long have you been waiting?" Liam hesitated. He didn't know how to measure time when fear blurred everything. "A long time," he said quietly. "Since the sun was up." Mr. Collins felt something twist in his chest. "Hours." The boy had been sitting here for hours. In the cold. Alone. "Did he say where he was going?" Mr. Collins asked carefully. "He said he would come back." Liam's voice cracked. He's probably busy." Mr. Collins knew that wasn't true. Everything in Liam's eyes told a different story: fear, confusion, abandonment. But he didn't want to break the boy's fragile hope. "Not yet." "Liam," he said gently, "are you cold?" The boy nodded once, hugging himself tighter. Mr. Collins immediately removed his coat and placed it around Liam's shoulders, tucking it gently behind him so the wind couldn't pull it away. The coat was warm, thick, and far too big for Liam, but the boy leaned into it instinctively as if warmth was something he had been starving for. Mr. Collins noticed the old, squeaky wheelchair next. The metal was rusted and the seat cushion was torn. It wasn't suited for a child, especially one who needed support. His heart squeezed painfully. "How about we get you somewhere warm while we try to find your dad?" Mr. Collins asked softly. Liam's head shot up. His eyes widened in panic. "No. I can't leave. What if he comes back and I'm not here? Then he'll be angry." Angry. The word lingered in the air like a heavy shadow. Mr. Collins sat down on the cold bench next to Liam, choosing not to stand above him. "Liam, did something happen today?" Liam's small fingers trembled on his lap. He stared at the ground. "Dad, he was mad. He said I was too much work. He said he can't do this anymore. He told me to sit here and wait." Liam's voice broke completely. He didn't even look back. A deep ache filled Mr. Collins' chest. He had heard stories of neglect before, but seeing this little boy abandoned on a freezing night, was something different. It stirred anger. It stirred sorrow. And most of all, it stirred responsibility. He leaned closer. "Liam, listen to me," he said gently. "No child deserves to be left alone like this. You didn't do anything wrong." Liam squeezed his eyes shut as if the words hurt. "I tried to be good," he whispered. "I tried really hard." Mr. Collins had to blink away the sting behind his own eyes. He had never expected to find a child here tonight, but now that he had, he knew walking away was impossible. "Liam," he said softly, "let me help you. Please." Liam trembled, torn between fear of being left again and fear of trusting someone new. But the cold, the empty street, and the pain in his chest finally outweighed everything. He whispered, "Okay." Without wasting a second, Mr. Collins gently lifted Liam from the bench and placed him securely in his wheelchair. The boy was light, too light. Another sign of neglect. Mr. Collins wheeled him toward his car while keeping one hand on Liam's shoulder to reassure him he wasn't going anywhere. He carefully helped him into the back seat and buckled him in, making sure he was warm under the coat. The moment the car heater turned on, Liam seemed to melt a little, his tense shoulders dropping just a bit. His eyes grew heavy with exhaustion, but fear kept him from fully closing them. Mr. Collins glanced at him through the rearview mirror. "You're safe now," he said gently. "I promise you that." Liam didn't answer, but the small way his breathing softened said enough. As they drove toward the nearest hospital, rain began to fall again, tapping softly against the car windows. Liam stared out at the blurry lights, wondering what would happen next, afraid of everything but holding on to the faintest glimmer of hope. He didn't know who Mr. Collins really was. He didn't know that this moment, being found by a stranger who actually cared, would change the rest of his life. But somewhere deep in his heart, a tiny voice whispered, Maybe tonight things can get better. And for the first time in a long time, Liam allowed himself to believe it. The hospital lights were bright, almost too bright for Liam's tired eyes. Mr. Collins pushed the wheelchair gently through the main entrance, where nurses looked up in surprise at the sight of a shivering disabled child wrapped in an oversized coat. One nurse rushed over immediately. "Oh my goodness, what happened?" she asked, kneeling in front of Liam. Before Liam could answer, Mr. Collins spoke in a calm but firm voice. "I found him alone at a bus stop. He's been there for hours. I don't think anyone is coming for him." The nurse's expression shifted from surprise to concern. She touched Liam's hand and he flinched slightly, not used to gentle contact. "Sweetheart, you're freezing," she said softly. "Let's get you checked right away." Liam clung to the armrest of his wheelchair, eyes darting anxiously around the room. He had never been in a hospital before. The sounds of beeping machines and wheels rolling across the floor made him nervous. But Mr. Collins placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "I'm right here," he whispered. That simple sentence calmed Liam more than anything else could. Nurses guided them into an examination room. A doctor soon arrived, a woman with warm eyes and a gentle voice. She asked Mr. Collins a few questions, then turned her attention to Liam. "Can you tell me if anything hurts?" she asked kindly. Liam hesitated. He didn't like talking about his pain. His father always got angry when he complained. But the doctor waited patiently, not rushing him. "My legs always hurt," he whispered. The doctor nodded. "We'll take a look. And anything else?" Liam bit his lip. "My chest hurts sometimes, and I feel tired a lot." The doctor exchanged a knowing look with the nurse. "Thank you for telling me," she said gently. "You did a brave thing." Liam lowered his eyes. No one had ever called him brave before. Over the next hour they ran tests, checking his blood, examining his legs, scanning his body for injuries. Liam flinched every time someone touched him, but Mr. Collins stayed by his side the entire time, speaking softly whenever Liam's breathing grew fast. "You're safe," he kept saying. "Nothing bad will happen here." After the tests were done, the doctor stepped out to discuss the results with Mr. Collins. Liam remained in the room, gripping the blanket tightly, afraid of what they might say. Mr. Collins followed the doctor to a quiet corner of the hallway. "Is he all right?" he asked, worry tightening his voice. The doctor sighed, sadness filling her expression. "Physically he's stable, but he's showing clear signs of long-term neglect. He's underweight, dehydrated, and has old bruises. And his disability hasn't been managed properly. He hasn't been getting the care he needs." Mr. Collins felt a surge of anger, not the loud, explosive kind, but the deep kind that burned silently in his chest. His father did this to him? The doctor hesitated. "I can't say for sure, but the signs are consistent with neglect. Severe neglect." Mr. Collins clenched his jaw. "So what happens now?" "We're calling Child Protective Services," the doctor said. "A social worker will talk to him, evaluate his situation, and decide the safest next step." Mr. Collins looked toward the room where Liam sat alone. He imagined the boy hearing strangers tell him he had no home, no family. He imagined him being taken somewhere unfamiliar. "He's terrified of being taken away," Mr. Collins said quietly. The doctor softened. "He needs stability, kindness, and care. Wherever he goes next, he needs people who will actually love him." Mr. Collins didn't say it out loud, but the thought struck him deeply. Liam had no one. Except maybe him. When they returned to the room, Liam's eyes immediately lifted to Mr. Collins. Relief washed over his face the moment he stepped inside, as if he feared Mr. Collins might vanish just like his father did. "What did the doctor say?" Liam asked, his voice small. Mr. Collins knelt beside him, choosing his words carefully. "They want to make sure you're okay. And they want to help you stay safe." Liam swallowed hard. "Does that mean I have to go somewhere?" Mr. Collins saw the panic rising again in the boy's eyes. He gently took Liam's cold hand in his own. "You're not going anywhere alone," he said firmly. "I promise you that." Before Liam could respond, a soft knock sounded on the door. A woman entered, calm, professional, but kind. She carried a notebook and wore a badge. "Hello, Liam," she said gently. "My name is Miss Carter. I'm here to help you." Liam pressed back into the wheelchair, fear returning instantly. Mr. Collins squeezed his hand reassuringly. "It's okay, Liam. She just wants to talk to you." Miss Carter crouched down so her eyes met Liam's. "You're not in trouble," she said softly. "I just want to understand what happened and make sure you're safe." Liam looked from her to Mr. Collins, then back again. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know who to trust. But the warmth of Mr. Collins' hand reminded him he wasn't alone anymore. He took a slow breath. And for the first time since his father left him at the bus stop, he began to tell the truth. Liam hesitated at first, his fingers twisting the edge of Mr. Collins' coat that still rested on his lap. The hospital room felt too quiet, too bright, too full of eyes watching him gently, waiting for him to speak. Miss Carter sat patiently in front of him, keeping her voice soft, careful not to scare him. "Liam," she said kindly, "can you tell me what happened today?" He lowered his head. "My dad, he told me to sit at the bus stop," he whispered. "He said he needed to check something and he'd come back." "And then?" Miss Carter asked gently. Liam swallowed, his throat tight. "Then he didn't come back." Miss Carter wrote something in her notebook, but she didn't look away from him. "Has he left you alone before?" Liam nodded slowly. "Sometimes for a long time. Sometimes all night." Mr. Collins felt his heart clench painfully, but he stayed quiet, letting Liam speak. "Liam," Miss Carter continued, "did your dad ever hurt you?" Liam froze. His eyes darted to Mr. Collins as if asking silently, "Is it okay to say it?" Mr. Collins nodded once, his expression soft but strong. "You're safe now, Liam. You can say anything." Liam's lip trembled. He pushed me sometimes. Or yelled. Or said I was useless because of my legs. Tears filled his eyes again, but he blinked them away quickly as if he had learned that crying made things worse. Miss Carter's eyes softened with sadness. "I'm so sorry you went through that," she whispered. "You didn't deserve any of it." Liam looked surprised as if he had never heard such words before. "What we need to do now," she continued softly, "is make sure you don't have to live like that again." Liam's heart jumped. Does that mean I can't go back home?" Mr. Collins stepped closer and knelt beside him. "Liam," he said gently, "your father didn't keep you safe. You didn't have food, you didn't have proper care. And he left you," Miss Carter added softly. Liam squeezed his eyes shut, and a small sob escaped him. He wasn't crying because he loved his father. He was crying because he didn't know what home meant anymore. He didn't know where he belonged. "Where will I go?" Liam whispered. Miss Carter folded her hands. "We'll find a safe place for you. A family who cares for you. But first we need to ask, is there any relative who can take you in?" Liam shook his head. No one." Mr. Collins suddenly felt something inside him shift. A protective instinct, fierce and deep. He spoke before he could stop himself. "He can stay with me," he said with quiet certainty. Miss Carter blinked in surprise. "Mr. Collins, you want temporary care of Liam?" Liam's head snapped up, eyes wide. I can stay with you?" he whispered. Mr. Collins nodded. "If you want to, yes." A new emotion appeared on Liam's face, fragile hope, mixed with disbelief. Miss Carter looked between them. "Mr. Collins, this is a big responsibility. Are you sure?" He didn't hesitate. "I am." Miss Carter smiled gently. "We can start the emergency approval tonight. Liam will need a safe environment, medical care, and emotional support." "I can give him all of that," Mr. Collins said firmly. Tears filled Liam's eyes again, but this time they were different. Softer, shaky, filled with relief instead of fear. "I don't want to go anywhere else," he whispered. "Please." Miss Carter placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Then you'll stay with Mr. Collins for now. And we'll handle the rest." The tension in the room finally loosened, like invisible chains breaking. After hours of paperwork, signatures, and medical checks, Liam was cleared to leave the hospital. Mr. Collins wheeled him gently toward the exit. Outside, the night air was cold, but the world felt a little warmer to Liam now. As Mr. Collins lifted him into the car and buckled him in, Liam looked up at him with soft, uncertain eyes. Why are you helping me?" Mr. Collins paused. The truth formed slowly on his lips. "Because someone should have helped you a long time ago," he said softly. "And because you deserve better than what you've had." Liam stared at him, heart pounding with a mixture of confusion and gratitude. He didn't know how to respond. He didn't know how to process kindness. So he just whispered, "Thank you." "No need to thank me," Mr. Collins replied gently. "Just let me take care of you." As the car drove toward Mr. Collins' home, Liam watched the city lights blur past. A strange feeling spread through him. Something warm, something new. For the first time since his mother died, Liam didn't feel invisible. He didn't feel unwanted. He didn't feel alone. He had no idea what tomorrow would bring. But for the first night in years he wasn't afraid of the morning. And deep inside he wondered, could this be the beginning of a new life? The ride to Mr. Collins' house felt unreal to Liam. He sat in the back seat, wrapped in the warm coat, staring at the passing streetlights as if they were stars guiding him somewhere unknown. His stomach twisted with nervousness and curiosity. What kind of house did a millionaire live in? Would it be cold and strict like his old home, or warm like the hospital room had felt with Mr. Collins standing beside him? When the car finally slowed and turned into a quiet lane lined with trees and soft porch lights, Liam leaned closer to the window. He saw a large but cozy-looking house with warm yellow lights glowing from inside. There were flowers near the entrance and wind chimes gently ringing from the porch. Nothing about it felt cold or scary. It felt alive. Mr. Collins opened the car door and smiled. "Welcome home, Liam," he said softly. Liam froze at the word home. It sounded too big, too heavy, too impossible. "Home?" he whispered. "For now," Mr. Collins said, kneeling beside him. "And maybe longer if you want it to be." Liam's throat tightened and he nodded slowly. Inside the house, the warmth surrounded him instantly, soft carpets under his wheels, a fireplace glowing gently, and the faint smell of something sweet baking in the kitchen. A large dog barked once, then came running toward them. Liam flinched, gripping the wheelchair. "Easy, Max," Mr. Collins said quickly. "He's a friend." The dog sniffed Liam's hand gently, then rested his head on Liam's lap as if offering comfort. Liam's tense shoulders relaxed a little. "He likes you," Mr. Collins smiled. Liam looked down at the dog, surprised. "No one usually likes me." "I don't believe that for a second," Mr. Collins replied softly. He led Liam into a guest room, but it didn't look like a guest room. It looked like a room prepared with care. The bed was soft, covered in blue blankets. A desk sat near the window. Shelves held storybooks, puzzles, and even a few toys still in their packaging. A small lamp shaped like a moon glowed softly. Liam stared around the room in shock. This can't be for me," he whispered. Mr. Collins nodded. "I had this room prepared a long time ago. I didn't know who would need it or when, but I wanted to be ready to help someone. And now I know who it was for." Tears filled Liam's eyes again. He tried to hide his face, but Mr. Collins gently touched his shoulder. "Liam, you don't have to hold everything in," he said. "Not here." Liam wiped his cheeks with the sleeve of the coat. No one ever made something for me before." Mr. Collins took a deep breath. "Well, now someone has." He helped Liam onto the bed, adjusting the pillows carefully. Liam sank into the softness, unable to believe this comfort was meant for him. "Are you hungry?" Mr. Collins asked. Liam nodded shyly. "A little?" "I'll bring you something warm," Mr. Collins said. While he was gone, Liam looked around the room again, the soft rug, the moon lamp, the books. He reached out and gently touched a stuffed bear placed near the pillow. It felt soft, safe. He held it close, not because he was childish, but because it gave him a feeling he had long forgotten: comfort. A few minutes later, Mr. Collins returned with a tray, warm soup, bread, and juice. He placed it gently on Liam's lap. "Eat slowly," he said. "Your stomach needs time to get used to good meals." Liam took a spoonful. It was warm, rich, full of flavor. He closed his eyes as the warmth spread through his chest. This is really good," he whispered. Mr. Collins smiled. "I'm glad." After Liam finished eating, Mr. Collins sat beside him. "I need to tell you something important," he said gently. "Your father, he's been found." Liam stiffened instantly. His heart raced. "He wants me back?" Liam asked, his voice trembling. Mr. Collins hesitated. The truth wasn't simple. "He's pretending to care," he said carefully. "But he didn't ask about your health. He didn't apologize for leaving you. Do you know what he asked first?" Liam shook his head, scared to hear it. "He asked who I was," Mr. Collins continued. "And then he asked if I was rich." Liam froze, shocked and confused. Why would he ask that?" Mr. Collins' expression darkened. "Because he doesn't want you. He wants what he can gain." Liam's chest hurt. He looked down at his hands. "I knew it," he whispered. "He never cared." Mr. Collins gently lifted his chin. "Liam, listen. His choices don't determine your worth. You are important. You matter. And I won't let him hurt you again." Liam stared at him, searching, hoping, afraid to believe too much. "Will they send me back to him?" "No," Mr. Collins said firmly. "I'll fight for you. I promise." The words hit Liam like sunlight breaking through clouds. For the first time he believed them. That night, in his warm bed, with the bear in his arms and safety around him, Liam whispered softly into the darkness. Please, don't let this end. And somewhere deep inside he felt something he thought he would never feel again. Oh. The next morning, Liam woke up slowly, blinking at the soft morning light filling the room. For a few seconds he forgot where he was. He lifted his head, expecting to see cracked walls, a cold floor, and the smell of stale air like in his old home. Instead he saw the gentle blue curtains swaying softly, the moon-shaped lamp resting on the bedside table, and the stuffed bear still tucked under his arm. Then he remembered. He was in Mr. Collins' house. A safe place. A warm place. A place where no one yelled at him. He sat up, rubbing his eyes. His legs felt stiff, but not from fear, just from waking up. He reached for the wheelchair beside the bed and slowly climbed into it, surprised at how quiet the house felt. He rolled into the hallway, unsure if he was allowed to move freely. Every step of the wheels made him nervous. What if he bothered someone? What if he made too much noise? He reached the living room where sunlight poured through big windows. Max, the dog, lifted his head and wagged his tail before walking over to gently rest his head on Liam's lap. Liam stroked his fur shyly. "You're early," a warm voice said. Liam jumped slightly and turned around to see Mr. Collins walking down the stairs, still in his morning clothes. He smiled softly. "Did you sleep well?" Liam nodded. "Yes, I think so." "That's good," Mr. Collins said. "Breakfast?" Liam hesitated. "Can I?" "You can do anything here," he replied gently. Mr. Collins wheeled him to the dining table where fresh toast, eggs, and fruit were already laid out. Liam stared at the food with wide eyes. He wasn't used to eating breakfast, at least not real breakfast. Most days he had gone to school hungry or eaten whatever scraps he found at home. Liam took a bite of toast, his small hands trembling slightly. "This is nice," he said, almost embarrassed. "You deserve nice things," Mr. Collins said simply. After breakfast, Miss Carter arrived again with a folder in her arms. Liam stiffened immediately, gripping the sides of his wheelchair. She noticed and knelt beside him, meeting his eyes gently. "You're safe, Liam," she said softly. "I'm just here to update you both." Mr. Collins placed a comforting hand on Liam's shoulder. Miss Carter opened the folder. "We found your father," she said carefully, keeping her voice neutral. "He made contact this morning." Liam felt his heart drop. His chest tightened with fear. "Does he want me back?" he whispered. Miss Carter looked at him carefully. "He said he does," she admitted, "but his reasons are questionable." Liam frowned. "What does that mean?" Mr. Collins stepped forward, rubbing the back of his neck. "It means," he said gently, "that he didn't ask about your health. He didn't ask how you slept or if you were scared. He only asked about me." "Why?" Liam asked. Miss Carter took a careful breath. "Because he learned Mr. Collins is wealthy," she said softly. "Your father asked if he could get something in return for giving up custody." Liam's face went pale. "He wants money?" Miss Carter nodded sadly. "Yes." Liam stared at his hands in silence. For years he had tried to be enough for his father, tried to move faster, tried to stop crying, tried to be good. And still his father had left him. Not because Liam was a burden, but because he saw him as something to trade. Tears slid down Liam's cheeks silently. Mr. Collins crouched in front of him, lifting his chin gently. "Liam," he said in a voice filled with warmth, "your father's choices have nothing to do with your worth. Nothing. You're not something to trade. You're a child. A wonderful child who deserves love and protection." Liam's lip trembled. "Why do you care so much?" he whispered. Mr. Collins' eyes softened. "Because someone should have cared a long time ago," he said. "And because I want to." Miss Carter cleared her throat gently. "The good news is," she said, "his behavior actually helps your case. The court will not return you to him. His intentions prove he is unfit. We'll start the process of removing his parental rights." Liam blinked. "So, he can't take me back?" "That's right," she said softly. "He won't be able to hurt you again." A breath Liam didn't know he was holding escaped slowly. For the first time, the idea of being safe felt real. Miss Carter closed her folder. "The next step is a court hearing," she said. "You don't have to be scared. You won't face him alone. Mr. Collins will be there and so will I." Mr. Collins nodded firmly. "I'll be right beside you." Liam wiped his tears with the sleeve of his shirt. "Okay," he whispered. "I trust you." Later that day, Mr. Collins showed Liam around the garden. Bright flowers colored the pathway and Liam touched each one gently. He had never had a garden before. Never had someone showing him beautiful things with patience. The world didn't feel so scary anymore. As the sun set and soft golden light washed over the garden, Liam whispered, "Thank you, for everything." Mr. Collins looked down at him with a warm smile. "Liam, this is just the beginning." And deep in Liam's heart he felt something stronger than ever. The beginning of a real life. A real home. A real family. The day of the court hearing arrived much faster than Liam expected. He had slept little the night before, twisting and turning, scared of what today might bring. What if the judge believed his father? What if he was forced to go back? Every time that fear rose in his chest, he hugged the stuffed bear Mr. Collins gave him, whispering to himself, "You're safe now, you're safe." That morning Mr. Collins helped Liam get ready, choosing a soft blue sweater for him and carefully combing his hair. Liam couldn't stop fidgeting. His hands shook slightly as he adjusted his sleeves. Am I supposed to talk today?" he asked nervously. Mr. Collins knelt beside him, meeting his eyes gently. "Only if you want to," he said. "No one will force you. And you won't say anything alone. I'll be there. Miss Carter will be there. You're not facing anything by yourself anymore." Liam's shoulders relaxed a little. He nodded and whispered, "Okay." The ride to the courthouse felt heavy, as if the car was carrying not just two people but all of Liam's fears. When they arrived, Liam saw grown-ups in suits walking quickly, talking loudly. He felt too small, too powerless in a place like this. But Mr. Collins placed a steady hand on his back. "You belong here," he said softly. "Your voice matters." Inside the courtroom, Liam spotted his father sitting with crossed arms and an annoyed expression. His clothes were messy and his eyes cold, the same coldness Liam remembered from their last days together. When their eyes met, Liam froze. His father smirked. "Well, look who's finally here," he said in a low, sharp tone. Liam felt himself shrinking back, but Mr. Collins stepped in front of him protectively. "Don't speak to him unless asked by the court," he said coldly. Liam's father scoffed. "Who do you think you are?" "The man who saved your son when you abandoned him," Mr. Collins replied firmly. A deep silence fell between them. Liam's father looked away first. They all entered the courtroom. Liam sat between Miss Carter and Mr. Collins. His father sat across the room, pretending to look innocent, but the bitterness in his eyes gave him away. When the judge entered, everyone stood. Liam's heart pounded. The judge looked serious but not unkind. The proceedings began. A lawyer read the report aloud. Liam's hours alone at the bus stop, the condition he was found in, the signs of neglect, the bruises, the malnourishment. Liam watched his father grow restless, annoyed and angry, almost as if the truth offended him. When asked if he abandoned his son, Liam's father lied easily. "Of course not. I just stepped away for a moment. That man," he pointed at Mr. Collins, "took advantage of the situation. He wants to take my boy from me." Mr. Collins remained calm. "All I want is for Liam to be safe." The judge turned to Liam. "Young man," she said gently, "do you wish to speak? Only if you feel comfortable." Liam looked up at her, his heart pounding. For a moment he felt like the scared little boy at the bus stop again. But then he felt Mr. Collins' hand rest softly on his shoulder. He glanced at Miss Carter, who nodded encouragingly. Slowly Liam took a breath. "I waited," he whispered. "For hours. He didn't come back." The courtroom fell silent. "And before that," Liam continued, his voice trembling but steady, "he used to leave me alone a lot. He yelled at me. He said I ruined his life. He said I wasn't worth anything." He swallowed hard. "But Mr. Collins, he stayed with me. He fed me. He didn't yell. He didn't leave." A tear slid down his cheek and he didn't wipe it away. "I want to stay with him," Liam said softly. "Please." The judge listened carefully. Even the lawyers went quiet. Liam's father clenched his fists but said nothing. After a long pause the judge spoke. "The evidence is clear," she said. "Your father is unfit for custody. His parental rights will be terminated." Liam gasped softly. He felt the world shift, like a heavy chain had fallen from his shoulders. The judge continued, "Temporary guardianship is granted to Mr. Collins, effective immediately. A full adoption hearing will be scheduled." Liam turned to Mr. Collins slowly. Mr. Collins gave him a warm, emotional smile. "You're safe," he whispered. "It's over." Liam let out a breath he had been holding for months, maybe years. He leaned into Mr. Collins, who wrapped an arm around him protectively. As they walked out of the courtroom, Liam expected to feel scared again, but instead he felt something else entirely. Freedom. And as they stepped into the sunlight, he whispered softly, "Thank you, for not giving up on me." Mr. Collins squeezed his shoulder gently. Never, he said. Never in a million years. The days after the court hearing felt different for Liam, lighter, safer, almost unreal. He woke up each morning expecting things to go wrong, expecting someone to yell, expecting everything to be taken away. But every morning, the same soft sunlight touched his face. Every morning, Max the dog nudged his wheelchair for cuddles. Every morning, Mr. Collins greeted him with a warm smile and a gentle, "Good morning, kiddo." Slowly, the fear inside Liam began to loosen its grip. One evening, a week after the court decision, they sat together on the porch watching the sunset. Liam held a warm cup of cocoa, both hands wrapped around it carefully. His legs were covered with a soft blanket, and Max sat at his feet. Mr. Collins sat beside him, quietly enjoying the peaceful moment. "Do you miss him?" Mr. Collins asked softly, not wanting to hurt him, but wanting to understand. Liam thought for a long moment. "I don't know," he whispered. "I think I miss what I wanted him to be." Mr. Collins nodded gently. "That makes sense. I tried so hard," Liam continued, "to make him happy, to make him proud. But I was never enough for him." Mr. Collins turned to him, his eyes warm. "Liam, you were more than enough. You always were. He just didn't see it." Liam blinked back the tears that rose again. They weren't painful tears anymore, they were part of healing. The next few days brought small changes that meant the world to him. A physical therapist came to help with exercises. A teacher visited to evaluate his learning level. Miss Carter checked in often, always smiling when she saw how bright Liam looked now. Most importantly, Mr. Collins began preparing something special. "Can you come with me?" he asked one morning. Liam nodded, curious. Mr. Collins wheeled him down the hallway and opened a door that had been closed since Liam arrived. Inside was a room filled with tools, wood pieces, and various gadgets. "This is my workshop," Mr. Collins said. "And I have an idea." Liam's eyes widened. "For what?" "For your new wheelchair," Mr. Collins replied with a smile. Liam gasped softly. A new wheelchair? "This one isn't safe," he said gently, touching the old one. "So I thought maybe we could build one together. Something strong, comfortable, and made just for you." Liam felt something warm burst in his chest, joy, disbelief, gratitude all mixed together. "Really?" he whispered. "Really?" Mr. Collins said. "You deserve the best." Every day after that, Liam spent time in the workshop. He couldn't help much physically, but he gave suggestions, picked colors, and learned how different tools worked. He enjoyed watching Mr. Collins measure, cut, and build with quiet determination. The man treated the project like something important. Not a chore, not a charity act, but a gift. "Why are you doing all this?" Liam asked one afternoon. Mr. Collins paused and wiped his hands on a cloth. He looked at Liam with gentle honesty. "Because I care about you," he said simply. "Because you matter to me." Liam bit his lip, fighting tears again. No one had ever said something like that to him. Not in that way. Not with that sincerity. The new wheelchair was finished a week later. Blue, sleek, comfortable, and made with love. When Mr. Collins rolled it toward him, Liam's eyes widened, shining with amazement. "For me?" he whispered. "For you," Mr. Collins said. "Forever." Liam reached out and touched it with trembling hands. It was beautiful, strong, safe. Everything he had never had before. Mr. Collins lifted him gently into it. The fit was perfect. Liam laughed, a pure, bright laugh that surprised even himself. "I feel fast," he said. Mr. Collins laughed too. "You look fast. Just don't beat me in a race." They raced anyway, Liam rolling ahead with excitement, Mr. Collins jogging behind him, and Max running circles around them. The air filled with laughter, the kind that heals old wounds. Later that evening, as they sat together watching the stars appear, Liam spoke again, his voice soft but full. "Mr. Collins, do you think the judge will let me stay forever?" Mr. Collins turned to him slowly. "Liam," he said gently, "I haven't told you something." Liam tensed, his heart tightening. Mr. Collins continued, "I filed the adoption papers. All of them. I want you in my life. Not for days. Not for months. For the rest of your life, if you want that too." Liam's breath caught. His eyes filled instantly. You want to adopt me?" "With all my heart," Mr. Collins said softly. Tears spilled down Liam's cheeks. He didn't wipe them. He didn't hide them. He reached out, arms trembling, silently asking for a hug. Mr. Collins wrapped him into the warmest, safest embrace Liam had ever felt. "I want to stay," Liam whispered against his shoulder. "I want to be your son." Mr. Collins held him tighter. You already are, he said. That night, as Liam lay in his bed with his new wheelchair beside him, he smiled softly. His life had changed, completely, beautifully. He was no longer the boy abandoned at a bus stop. He was Liam Collins. And for the first time ever, he fell asleep dreaming of a future he finally believed he deserved.